The man who stood in front of me yesterday is dead. I know that because this morning, when I arrived at the bakery, there was a dark stain on the ground. Where he used to stand, no one stepped on it. The light curved slightly around the mark, as if it was something sacred or cursed. No one talked about it. We never talk about those things. We just stand in line. I took his plate without thinking, turned from the door, just like yesterday. My hand was in my pocket, holding the same 40 bills, damp with sweat. Above us, the sky was too clear. That was never a good sign. Someone behind me coughed. It sounded too loud in the silence, like a mistake. We all looked up at the same time. That's what we do now. We don't look at each other now. We look at the sky. We wait for something we cannot see yet. But we all know it's coming, sooner or later. The bakery door opened with a creak. The smell of fresh bread slipped out. A woman stopped, completely out of place. In this broken street, for a moment, it felt like another world, a world before silence, before bombs, before we started measuring time by explosion instead of hours. I swallowed. At home, my sister Lina had not eaten properly in 2 days. That was why I was here. That's why we were all here. The first time I stood in this line, I thought it was temporary. Everyone did. We thought the bombing could stop soon, that life could return to normal if we just waited long enough. People still joked back then. Someone would complain about the price of bread, another would talk about the weather. Now, no one jokes. We stand, we wait, we listen, and we count, not time but distance. How far the last explosion was, how long since the last siren, how many breaths we can take before the next one. A woman in front of me shifted her weight. She was older, maybe in her 50s. Her hair was covered with a cuff, but I could see strands of gray at the edges. She had a small bag, empty except for clothes at the bottom. It looked too light. She noticed me looking and gave a small nod, not a smile. No one smiles here anymore, just a quiet acknowledgement. You are here, I am here, we are both still alive. That was enough. The line moved forward. One step, then another. Each step felt like a decision. Each step felt like a race. A low hum filled the air. It was faint at first, almost like the wind, but we all heard it. Our bodies reacted before our minds did. Shoulders stiffened, hands tightened, eyes lifted. There it was, a distant, mechanical sound, growing slowly louder. No one ran. That was the strange part. Months ago, we would have scattered, running in all directions, shouting, pushing, desperate to find cover. Now we stayed, because we had learned something terrible. Running doesn't always save you, but living life almost always means going home empty-handed, and sometimes that is worse. I thought about Lina. She was 9 years old. Too thin for her age now. Her cheeks had lost their roundness. Her eyes looked bigger, darker. Yesterday, she had tried to smile when I came home with only half a loaf. I'm not that hungry, she said. She always say that. but I could hear her stomach at night, rolling in the silence between distant explosions. I closed my eyes for a second. I can't go back empty-handed again. The harm faded, or maybe it's moved away. No one spoke about it. We never confirmed danger. We just feel it, survive it, and move on. The light stepped forward again. I was second now. The woman in front of me adjusted her scarf. Her hands were shaking slightly. Inside the bakery, I could see the baker. He moved quickly, his face pale, his eyes tired. He didn't look up. He didn't look up. He never looks up. Maybe it's easier that way. A sudden crack split the air. Not a distant bomb. Not a distant boom. Not a warning. A sharp, violent sound. Too close. The ground trembled. The ground trembled. Someone gasped. Someone gasped. Dust fell from a nearby building, drifting through the air like grey snow. I felt my heart slam against my ribs. The woman in front of me froze. For a moment, everything stopped. The world held its breath. Then slowly the line moved forward. Just one step. No one spoke. No one ran. I realized something then. I had changed. We had changed. Not just our habits, not just our routines. We had changed inside. Fear was still there. It lived in our bones, in the way we flinched at every sound, in the way we watched the sky. But something else had grown around it, something heavier, something colder, acceptance. The woman in front of me reached the door. She hesitated for a second, then stepped inside. I followed. The bakery was small, dimly lit. The shelves were half empty. A few loaves remained, uneven in size, some darker than others. The smell was stronger. Inside, almost overwhelming. For a moment, it made me dizzy. It smelled like life. How many? The baker asked without looking up. His voice was flat, mechanical. One, the woman said. He handed a small loaf. He placed her money on the counter, her hands still trembling. Then she left. Just like that. No words, no delay. I stepped forward. One, I said. My voice sounded strange, like it belonged to someone else. The baker reached for a loaf, and then the siren started. It screamed through the air, sharp and relentless. This was different. This was not a distant sound. This was a real warning. The baker froze. For the first time, he looked up. Outside met. In his expression, I saw the same question that was in my mind. Do we stop? Or do we finish? Outside, I could hear movement. No panic, no chaos, just feathered steps. People adjusting, calculating. Some could leave, some could stay. The siren grew louder. Siren grew louder, closer, more urgent. Hurry up, I said. I don't know why I said it. Maybe I thought it mattered. Maybe I needed to believe it mattered. The baker grabbed the loaf and placed it on the counter. I reached for it. My fingers touched the warm crust. For a second, everything felt normal, simple, real. Then came the sound, a high-pitched whistle. Falling fast, time broke apart. The baker's eye widened. My hand tightened around the bread. The world outside the window flashed white. And then, nothing. I don't remember the explosion. Not the sound, not the impact. Just the absence of everything. When I When I opened my eyes, the world had changed. The bakery was gone, or part of it was. The front wall had collapsed, light poured in through a cloud of dust and smoke. The air tasted like metal. I couldn't hear anything, just a dull ringing. I was on the ground. The bread was still in my hand. I tried to move. Pain shot through my arm, my side, my leg, but I was alive. Slowly, sound returned, faint at first, then louder, cries, sounds, the crackle of fire. I pushed myself up. The room spun, but I stayed upright. The counter was broken. The shelves were gone. Debris covered the floor. The baker. I looked around. Hers was lying near the back wall, not moving. My chest tightened, but I didn't go to him. I couldn't. Outside, the streets were unrecognizable. Buildings damaged, windows shattered, smoke rising. The light, it was gone. All that, it had been scattered. Some people were running, some were lying on the ground, some were standing frozen, as if they didn't understand what had just happened. I stepped forward, still holding the bread. I felt heavier now. A figure moved near the edge of the street. The woman was scarfed. She was on her knees, her bag beside her. I walked toward her, slowly, carefully. "Are you?" I started. My voice broke. She looked up at me. Her eyes were wide, filled with something I couldn't name, fear, shock, or something beyond both. Then she looked at the bread in my hand. For a moment, neither of us spoke. I thought about Lena, about her waiting at home, about her empty stomach, about the way she tried to smile. The woman's hand was empty. Her bag had fallen open, still empty. I felt something twist inside me. This was the part no one talks about. Not the bombs, not the fear, but this, the choices. Who is, and who doesn't? My fingers tightened around the bread. I could walk away. I could go home. I could pretend I didn't see her. No one would blame me. In this world, survival is enough. But still, I broke the loaf in half. The sound was soft, almost lost in the noise around us. I held one piece out to her. She stared at it, then at me. Slowly, she reached out and took it. Her hands were shaking. Thank you, she whispered. It was the first time I had heard the words in a long time. I nodded. Then I turned and started walking home. The sky above was still clear, too clear. I didn't look up. I just walked, holding what was left of the bread, holding on to something small, something fragile, something that felt like being human. And for the first time in a long while, I wasn't sure if that made me safer or more afraid.